Upon the dissolution of my matrimonial bond, mine own kin did not solely align with my former spouse. They hath practically supplanted me with her. They did extend an invitation to her for the feast of Thanksgiving, and they conveyed to me, You may partake, provided you maintain silence and refrain from unleashing one of your lamentable displays. I proclaimed, Fret not, for I would choose to dine with the unknown than to linger with those who betray. 5 days hence, I didst make a singular move that didst unravel all that was. My cousin didst call me, weeping sorely, for all doth seem to unravel. Prithee, lend us thy aid to mend this plight. Thus, I shall cast this thought into the ether, for I am still vexed, and I yearn to discern if I stand alone in deeming this matter most absurd. If thou dost find thyself weary of familial strife, simply scroll forth. Yet, shouldst thou have ever sensed that thine own kin held thee in silence, thou art likely to comprehend this sentiment, eschewing the ephemeral and transient nature of bygone eras. Verily, I care not if any soul discovers this truth. To be frank, I am weary of maintaining the facade of tranquility. Forsooth, I endured a separation from my spouse some 18 months past, an event most lamentable yet not entirely unforeseen. Mine own companions, my former beloved, Opal, we did endure for nearly 6 years. Verily, I shall not proclaim that all blame doth rest upon her shoulders. Forsooth, I can be rather forthright. The discourse of emotions for an eternity doth not appeal to me, and perchance I do indulge a tad too much in the art of sarcasm. Opal's plight was such that she ever sought the favor of all, contorting herself into a pretzel in her relentless pursuit to be the virtuous one in every circumstance. Thus, the union doth not signify a most splendid pairing, as it appears. Verily, what matter it be? Herein lies the moment of peculiar intrigue. Most souls, when parting ways, find their kin in a state of discomfort, yet they still, perchance, recall the essence of their true lineage? Not of mine, I say. Mine own mother, Faith, and my cousin, Tucker, in sooth, did embrace Opal as if she were of their own blood. Mine Aunt Lorraine, as well. And I do not speak of mere civility for the sake of the young ones. Alas, we possess not a single one. Verily, she doth pretend to remain among their ranks, whilst I am cast in the role of the humble messenger, is it not so? Lo, the most peculiar observation that struck me was the gathering of discourse within the chat. In days of yore, it was but I, my mother, Tucker, Lorraine, and my sister Tammy, who did dwell together. Lo, in an instant, there stands Opal within the chamber. Lo, they dost all dispatch images from this most foolish gathering of clay and craft, and verily, I behold Opal's vessel ere I lay mine eyes upon any other. None doth inquire if I wish to partake in their gathering. Then it is as if we embark upon a day dedicated to the harvest of pumpkins. Lo, I behold mine own cousin, capturing a likeness with the fair Opal, and lo, the multitude doth comment, as if she hath become the jolly aunt of our kin. My device doth illuminate, yet solely for the purpose of revealing their missives to mine eyes. Verily, it seems that none dost engage in discourse with me, I surmise. Verily, it matters not. Perchance they are merely exhibiting courtesy. Perchance it is a source of discomfort for them as well. Verily, I confess, I hath begun to silence the discourse forsooth. It did vex me greatly to behold them all in merry company with her, as if naught had transpired. Then, a fortnight ere the feast of Thanksgiving, I receive a missive from my mother. Her tone bears the weight of solemn tidings, as if she stands poised to reveal the passing of a soul or some grave misfortune. Pray, what tidings dost thou bring? And she doth embark upon a lengthy discourse regarding the tension that hath arisen, expressing her desire to avoid any tumult at the feast of Thanksgiving. She doth declare, Thou mayest attend, yet only if thou dost remain silent and refrain from unleashing one of thy lamentable displays. What folly is this? Verily, I have not laid mine eyes upon these souls since the month of July. What acts dost thou refer to? Pray tell, what cause have I to be deemed the source of this plight? And she doth say, Well, thou knowest how thou dost become. Thou dost ever seek to engage in dispute, whilst Opal yearns solely for tranquillity. I do jest and inquire, Is it true that Opal shall grace us with her presence? And lo, she doth proclaim, Verily, she is of kin. Verily, she hath been a steadfast pillar for us all. I beseech thee, how dost thou offer thy support? And my mother doth become most defensive, launching into a discourse regarding how Opal hath been a steadfast companion, aiding her with matters of the household, and lending an ear when she felt the need to express her frustrations about my lack of communication, and so forth. She doth declare, Opal truly heeds, unlike thyself. At this juncture, I find myself utterly weary. Verily, I would choose to dine with unknown souls than to share a table with those who betray. She doth sever our discourse with haste. Merely doth it cease to connect. Verily, this is not a novel occurrence. Since my youth, she hath cast the device to the ground in anger upon my words. It is her turn to act when she doth desire not to strike a bargain. I did send a missive to Tucker, inquiring, Dost thou jest with this matter? And he doth merely utter, Make not this matter thine own. Opal hath endured much tribulation. Pray tell, what tidings have I overlooked? Hast thou forsaken me in silence, leaving me to ponder if I have met my end unbeknownst to all? In my quest for truth, I find myself reaching out to my sister, Tammy. She is the sole soul who doth not treat me as though I were but a wraith, unseen and unheard. Yet she doth seem so weary of it all, that she scarcely partakes in the fray. She doth proclaim, Behold, Opal is but a comfort to have in one's company. She doth bake, she lendeth her hand. She doth bestow upon all a sense of ease, as if they tread upon solid ground rather than fragile shells. She doth proclaim, Thou art aware of how mother doth behave. Thou art ever at odds. She doth favor those who affirm her correctness. Thou hast ne'er performed such an act. Opal doth. I inquire whether Tammy believes I ought to simply acquiesce. And she doth declare, I know not. Perchance it would be wise to refrain from making thy presence known. Allow them their tranquillity. Verily, most wondrous. Gratitude, dear sister. Thus, I find myself in the passing days, merely traversing the realm of existence, uncertain of purpose. Lo, I find myself besieged by the incessant chimes of notifications from yon group chat. Opal doth prepare her pies with great care. Opal doth lend her hand to Lorraine in the tending of her garden. Opal doth instruct my mother in the art of wielding her new-found device of communication. In truth, I bear no ire towards Opal. She doth pursue her customary course, as is her wont. To win the favor of all, she doth employ kindness and a gentle spirit, and allowing all to unburden their woes upon her. Yet, my kin, indeed. Verily, I believe the tale unfolds thus. The cause for their allegiance to her lies, in truth, in her simplicity, which renders her most agreeable to their whims. She doth never summon forth another's misdeeds. She doth never offer resistance. She shall indeed lend her ear to a lengthy discourse, spanning 2 hours, regarding how Tucker's former beloved hath purloined his air-fryer, and in return she shall craft for him a loaf of banana bread. In the interim, I do take a stand when my mother utters words that stray from the path of propriety. I bid Tucker cease his lamentations forthwith. I do not feign that all is well when it is not. Verily, I concede that I may be a challenge to comprehend. Yet, verily, I am not a mere semblance. As the season of gratitude doth approach, I find myself ensconced in mine abode, perusing the glowing screen of my device, when lo! A missive from Lorraine doth appear before mine eyes. The table is prepared and awaits its guests. Opal, positioned at the very heart of the matter, clasping my mother's hand with tender affection. All are graced with smiles. Lo, I behold my own place at the table, vacant and forlorn. It is not even veiled, I perceive it clearly now. I am no longer of kin. Indeed, if they choose to favor Opal above my humble self, let it be upon their own heads. Yet I shall not simply endure it. I shall not remain idle whilst they pretend I am but a shadow, unseen and unheard, or as though I am the rogue in the tale of mine own existence. Thus, I commence the crafting of a list within mine notes app. Verily, I pen each instance when Opal, alas, hath rendered assistance to my kin in matters that once were mine to bear. Each time they beseech her to undertake a task I once performed. Each occasion my mother permits her to manage matters intended solely for kin. Though uncertain of the path that lies ahead, there is a certain pleasure in the act of keeping record. I shall not permit them to render me as naught. I shall not be the one who remains at home during each festive occasion whilst my former beloved occupies my rightful place. If a betrayer they desire at their feast, then let her take her place among them. Yet they shall not claim us both, thus verily, I say I. Such is the state of my being. Uncertain of my forthcoming course, yet I have resolved to cease my role as the agreeable soul. If any soul possesses counsel, I beseech thee, share it forthwith, good sir or madam. I shall not remain idle whilst mine kin are deceived. Not on this occasion. The forthcoming segment may indeed descend into chaos, yet, to be honest, I stand prepared for the tumult that awaits. Behold, an update hath arrived. Thus, following the tumult of that Thanksgiving affair, I began to perceive matters I had hitherto chosen to overlook. Such matters that did not fully resonate until I found myself in contemplation, perusing the scroll before me, and coming to the poignant understanding that I had been all but erased from the tapestry of my family's existence, whilst Opal received the token of my invitation. Verily, I speak not solely of the festivity at hand. I do mean all that is encompassed within. In a moment of unexpected estrangement, one begins to perceive the subtle shifts that have transpired, revealing the myriad ways in which one has been supplanted over the course of many moons. Messages would arrive from Tucker, filled with tidings of familial matters, yet I would behold in his tales that Opal was present, loitering in my mother's abode, bearing sustenance, as though she doth preside, rather than merely partake. She hath her own chalice at my mother's abode. Verily, that is most novel. She ne'er partook of coffee in our shared moments. My cousin hath boldly shared a moving picture of Opal instructing Lorraine on the art of configuring some television contraption, as if she were a resident therein. Mine aunt hath her upon the swiftest of dials now. Verily, Opal doth prove most helpful in all her endeavors. Opal doth possess the finest of notions, Opal here, Opal there. Verily, I am but a mere whisper in the grand tome of existence. I inquired of Tucker the nature of the matter at hand, and he merely replied, "'Tis not of great import, my friend. Opal doth possess a remarkable aptitude for matters of technology. Verily, thou art aware that mother doth struggle mightily with the contraptions of remote control. Indeed, yet she did not summon me for aid following the dissolution of our union. It seems I have lost my usefulness. Then there did occur a matter concerning the cabin. Thus, my dear grandmother hath bequeathed this abode in the northern lands unto our kin, dost thou see? Not solely my kin, but the division lies betwixt myself, Tucker, and Tammy. For many a year, I found myself the sole steward of the bills and the upkeep of our abode. Yet, no soul did utter a word of gratitude. Thus, I venture forth to peruse the discourse of the gathering regarding the retreat, having turned a blind eye to it for a spell. Verily, it is all Opal. Opal doth arrange a journey for the summer season. Opal hath procured quotations for the necessary repairs. Opal doth speak of rendering it more inviting. As I peruse the discourse, I find my name absent from the deliberations regarding the allocation of the venue for the month of July. Verily, I share ownership of this venture, yet none dost summon me for the casting of my vote. I did send a missive to Tucker, inquiring, "Good sir, what tidings dost thou have regarding the cabin?" He merely shrugs it aside, proclaiming that Opal lends her aid. All hearts do favor her schemes above the rest. Thou art ever occupied, indeed. I did reach out to Tammy regarding the matter, and she responded that she endeavored to advocate for thy inclusion. However, Mother and Lorraine opined that it would be more convenient to proceed with Opal alone. She doth proclaim, "Thou art aware of the nature of such matters." Mother doth proclaim that thou art oft a challenge to arrange meetings with. Opal doth attend to matters with great diligence. I declare unto her that it is, in truth, my name inscribed upon the deed. And Tammy doth let out a weary sigh, proclaiming, "I know, yet I am weary of this endless strife." She doth not stand with me, merely seeks not to engage in an accord. I commenced my inquiries, yet none dost provide a clear response. Lorraine doth declare, "Opal hath been a most wondrous boon. Thou ought to express gratitude for her steadfastness in uniting the kin." My mother doth proclaim, "If thou wouldst but visit more oft, perchance our circumstances might take a different turn. Pray, allow me to express that thou didst extend an invitation to my former beloved for the feast of Thanksgiving, whilst bidding me to remain silent. And she doth merely shift the discourse. It is oft declared that I must needs turn all matters to my own self. Verily, it is most astonishing. I perceive that Opal's compliance renders her a convenient choice, for she doth never utter the word nay. Ever doth she bake, ever doth she procure trifling tokens of affection. Pray, allow me to extend my assistance in this endeavor. Verily, she hath done thus with mine companions as well. Ever did she fashion herself the one whom all desired to summon to their gatherings. Yet what of my kin? Perchance I fancied they would recall my essence. Yet alas, they seek the path of least resistance, shunning the truth. Then I beheld a matter that didst ignite my ire. Verily, my mother doth oft beseech me for assistance with her accounts. Such matters of the digital realm, establishing the mechanism of automatic payment and such matters. Following the dissolution of our union, I continued to partake in the endeavor for a time. Yet, she doth proclaim that Opal hath it well in hand now. From Tucker's lips, I have gleaned that Opal now holds the keys to my mother's accounts, as a complete and utter cipher, managing affairs of yore. Pray tell, mother, dost thou jest? Pray tell, dost thou entrust thy finances to one who once held thy heart? She doth merely declare that Opal is of steadfast character. Thou art ever so full of gloom. She doth assist me in feeling master of mine own fate. Verily, I declare unto her that such a notion is most ill-fated. And she doth merely snap at me. Proclaims that should my worries weigh heavily upon me, I may venture forth to seek assistance. Yet, perchance, if I might exhibit kindness for a fleeting moment, I declare unto her that I shall not partake in such a jest. Thus, I take it upon myself to diligently retain records, both in the tangible sense and in matters of significance. I have captured images, penned down observations, and gathered all manner of records. Each occasion finds Opal engaged in discourse regarding the cabin. Whenever she doth speak of aiding with matters of kin, each occasion she doth conspire with mine kin, whilst I remain in ignorance of her designs. I bear no ire towards Opal for her actions. Mine ire doth rise against my kin for allowing such a fate to unfold. Verily, I am not without flaw, yet I never imagined they would cast me aside, seeking instead a soul who never dares to dissent. Then I received a missive from Lorraine inquiring if I might lend my approval to some documents pertaining to the cabin. Pray tell, what manner of documentation dost thou refer to? She doth send me this document. Opal doth assist all in establishing new auto-pay for utilities, and we beseech thee for thy information. Pray tell, since when hath Opal taken charge of the accounts? And lo, Lorraine doth take up arms in her defense. Verily, she is the sole one who doth truly maintain her pace. Thou art ever tardy. Thou dost not respond. Thou art overly occupied. Verily, I do pay mine own portion each passing year. Not a soul did utter a word regarding the hour growing late. She doth merely declare, verily, Opal shall attend to it henceforth. Pray, affix thy signature. I declare unto her that I shall not affix my signature to any document until I have thoroughly examined its contents. And she doth unleash her fury. Proclaims that I am crafting a tale of turmoil. With a forceful gesture, she shuts the door upon my arrival as I seek discourse at her abode. Afterward, Tucker doth send me a missive. Pray, merely affix thy signature. Cease thy endeavors to render all matters so arduous. Lo, in every corner I cast mine eyes, I find Opal's fingers entwined in pursuits once dear to my heart. Each assembly of discourse, each gathering of kin, each foolish missive of festive cheer. Lo, she doth stand yonder. Verily, I am not. I did inquire of my mother whether I might pay a visit to discourse upon matters concerning the cabin. She doth declare, only if thou art not inclined to dispute. Verily, Opal doth approach to lend her aid in the matter of my taxes, regardless. I have just concluded my discourse. Thus it is concluded. Verily, I find myself unwilling to partake in this endeavor. Verily, I surmise that the cause of my kin's treatment towards me lies in mine own refusal to partake in their merry jesting. Even ere the fair Opal graced the stage, I have ever been the fellow who speaks his mind without restraint, proclaims the truth with fervor, refusing to feign contentment amidst chaos. What dost thou mean by Opal? She is the sort who shall smile and nod, whilst crafting sweet confections, all the while thou dost speak ill of the one who truly laboured. Thus, my kin doth receive their desires fulfilled. A soul that doth not resist the tide never doth create discomfort in discourse. Such is the worth they ascribe, I suppose. Merely a tranquil existence, free from discord and strife, though it may require the guise of my own absence. Thus, I find myself in a state of repose. As I observe this entire spectacle unfold, a realization dawns upon me. Should I not take action? Alas, it seems I am destined to be cast aside from all that surrounds me. Not solely in matters of the heart, yet in matters of coin, as the humble abode doth resemble the chronicles of the household. All things, they shall permit Opal to seize dominion. It shall not come to pass. Upon the next occasion when they beseech me to affix my name to any parchment, I shall arrive with all that I possess. Verily, I shall not affix my name to any parchment. I shall not yield. I shall not permit them to alter the annals of time so that Opal may don the mantle of heroism. And I am but the wrathful soul who hath vanished into the ether. I shall no longer remain silent. If they seek a clash, they shall soon find themselves engaged in one. Verily, indeed. Prepare thyself, B.C. I am on the verge of crafting a presence so compelling that none shall turn a blind eye to my existence. If my kin doth desire Opal, they may claim her as their own. Yet they shall not partake of my portion. Not a chance, prepared for the third bout. Second missive. Dost thou ever experience that sensation wherein thou art aware that others converse of thee, yet art unable to substantiate such claims? I speak not of mere suspicion. Verily, a plethora of oblique sentiments doth abound. As if one day thou art kin. Pray, thou art the peculiar former sibling whom none desire to message, save for matters of coin. Upon my observance, I began to discern the matters that remained unshared. Not merely what was done. As Tucker doth dispatch unto me a jest of the forsaken progeny. Yet he appears in every single group portrait with Opal, whilst I am absent. Lo! I behold Lorraine's missive upon the scroll of faces, expressing gratitude for fresh customs, with Opal, fair and bright, clasping a pie in her hands. Verily, 'tis a recipe handed down from my esteemed grandmother. The token she vowed to keep close, never to part with. Untamed. Thus, I resolved to cease my patient vigil for their amiable overtures and boldly traverse the threshold without further ado. Not in the strictest sense, yet I did convene a gathering of kin. I did send missives to all in the former assembly of discourse, the one from which Opal is absent, and proclaimed, we must convene to deliberate upon the lodge, the finances, and all matters besides. Tammy doth declare, I shall attend if this be not merely another quarrel. Tucker doth play the part of one unperturbed, as if the affairs at hand are not his to tend. Yet I do declare unto him, verily, it is so. Thou art loath to soil thy hands, it seems. Lorraine doth endeavour to delay. Opal doth possess the strength to bear it. I do declare, nay, this be for those who possess true belongings. She doth abandon my words, leaving them unacknowledged. I declare unto them that I shall bring forth every doc in my possession. I yearn to behold the evidence of transactions past. Pray, share with me thine intentions for the cabin and the matters of account, that I may be enlightened by all. Lo, Tammy doth approach, her countenance bespeaking vexation. Tucker doth tarry beyond the appointed hour. Lorraine doth comport herself as though she were seated in the chair of a toothsmith. All that I possess is laid before me in written form. Stacks of parchment neatly arranged. I am not jesting. I commence to unfold the fundamental principles. Pray, observe, Opal doth not possess the cabin. She hath no voice in this matter. She is not permitted to maneuver the funds at her discretion. I reveal to them the gatherings of discourse wherein she doth conspire without my presence. The missives wherein she doth arrange matters with the purveyor of electric currents. The images wherein she proclaims to others, I hold no regard for the kin. Each time I rendered unto them my due, I laid bare my contribution. Each occasion I found myself cast aside from a choice. Verily, shouldst thou desire to alter the course of affairs, my mark upon the parchment is requisite. Verily, I shall not affix my signature to any parchment until I am accorded the respect I am due. Lorraine doth retort, proclaiming, Thou art overreacting. Opal doth lend her aid, for thou art oft absent. Verily, I express unto her, my absence doth stem from the manner in which thou dost regard me, as a vexation rather than a being of worth. Tucker doth proclaim, no soul desires a quarrel. Yet, Opal doth render matters more facile. Pray tell, for whom dost thou find it easier? More convenient for those who wish to feign my absence. Lo, Tammy doth align with my sentiments forsooth, proclaiming, verily, this doth grow strange. What cause doth lead Opal to govern all affairs? Lorraine doth proclaim, for her heart doth hold concern. Thou dost but complicate matters. We commence our dispute. Voices do rise high. No soul shall yield nor falter. Tammy smites her palm upon the table and proclaims, This is our kin, not Opal's. This hath ventured beyond reasonable bounds. Lorraine doth rise, thrusting her chair aside, proclaiming her refusal to contend with the matter, and with a forceful gesture, she doth slam the door behind her. Tucker doth attempt to depart. I do impede his advance, proclaiming, Thou shalt not escape thy fate. He doth push me aside, proclaiming, Lay not thy hands upon me. I am not the one to untangle thy troubles. I do declare to him, Dost thou desire to embrace the mantle of adulthood? Then perform thy part. It doth grow fervent, indeed, most unruly and chaotic. I shall not hold back my words. Verily, I declare unto them, should thou continue to entrust Opal with the purse, I shall be compelled to suspend the accounts until we reach a resolution. Mine is a shared claim to the cabin. I possess rights bestowed by law. And if thou dost believe I jest, then challenge me. Tucker doth scoff, proclaiming, Thou wouldst not betray us in such a manner. Verily, thou hast already wronged me. What, pray tell, is the distinction therein? Then Tammy doth draw forth her device, and begins to unveil the discourse shared with Opal to the assembly. Lo! These missives speak of a crew beset by ire, urging that we proceed forth without his presence. Verily, I was unaware of this matter until now. She doth declare, I wished not to be ensnared in the midst, yet this hath spiraled beyond all measure. I cast mine eyes upon Tucker. He merely shrugs and proclaims, 'Tis simpler thus, dear companions. I declare, simpler for thee, not for mine own self. Thus, we find ourselves in a cacophony of voices, each raising their cries into the ether. Lo, Lorraine doth re-enter, proclaiming, Shouldst thou desire to complicate matters, I shall summon the attorney of my grandmother. Behold how thou dost fancy it. I bid her, proceed forthwith. I shall dispatch all that I possess. Tammy doth inquire, Shall we not establish some rules? Pray, let us come to a consensus that Opal shall not partake in the casting of her ballot. Tucker gazes upon me and doth inquire, Pray tell, what dost thou desire? Pray, cease thy pretense that I have departed, whilst she assumes the role of thy new-found sibling. It is most uncomfortable indeed. As if no soul weeps. Yet, one can discern that each soul doth harbor its own peculiar madness. Tammy doth yearn for tranquillity. Tucker doth seek his release. Lorraine doth desire that Opal take the reins of the performance. Oh, how I yearn for the days of yore, when my existence was full and unburdened. Verily, I declare, the essence lies therein. If Opal doth lay her hands upon another's account or inscribe my name, or even dares to make choices regarding my possessions, I shall seek the counsel of a lawyer forthwith. Art thou inclined to engage in combat? I have ceased my merriment. Verily, Tucker doth proclaim. Very well, we shall adhere strictly to the prescribed rules and conventions. Tammy doth proclaim, I am weary of you all. She departs, forcefully shutting the portal behind her. Lorraine takes her seat, her gaze averted from mine. I proclaim unto them, Thou hast wrought this deed. Thou hast chosen her in preference to my humble self, and thus thou art destined to dwell with it henceforth. I rise to my feet. Tucker doth attempt to thwart my path. I do push him aside, seize my folder, and make my exit. Upon my return to the abode, A tempest of ire brews within me, yet a curious tranquillity envelopes my spirit. Verily, I am aware of the course I shall take henceforth. I speak true, without pretense. They seek to engage in sport with wealth and possessions. I'll reveal unto them the consequences of crossing one who doth peruse the minutiae with care. Verily, it is most astonishing to witness the swift transformation of hearts when one ceases to serve their purpose or prove convenient to their desires. They desire Opal. They may possess her. Yet I shall not permit her to seize that which is rightfully mine. Not at this moment. Nevermore. Forthcoming tidings shall be revealed upon the turning of the key. Remain attentive. Last tidings. Thus, following the tumultuous gathering of kin, I resolved to grant a span of 5 days. Anticipation lingered in the air, as I awaited a missive from another, perhaps to mend the rift or weave the familiar web of remorse, yet silence reigned supreme. It was but a mirror of what had been. Conversations in which I find myself absent. Opal's name doth echo through the realms. Mine own self dost receive no summons. Perchance they believed I would surrender and vanish, allowing them to continue their charade whilst my former companion took the lead. Yet, nay, it shall not come to pass. Upon the commencement of my journey, I took to the humble abode by the waterside. I have gathered all the documents forthwith. Action most assuredly taken. Invoices. The co-owner agreement that my dear grandmother meticulously crafted in times of yore. All that doth transpire. I didst verify each and every payment I hath made, each mark of distinction, each missive concerning restorations. It was arranged with such precision that even Tucker would find no grounds for dispute. What they failed to comprehend is that one cannot simply cast aside a co-owner and expect their inquiries to cease. I did summon the office of management, instructed them to halt any forthcoming alterations. No mending nor reservations shall be made. All actions await my decree. I did instruct them to convey that in written form to all who are privy to the matter at hand. I did dispatch an electronic missive to the kinfolk, bearing the legal proclamation as an attachment. Without forewarning. Nay, I beseech thee, no. If thou dost wish to make use of the cabin, approach me directly and speak thy intent. Opal doth not appear upon the deed. Her voice shall not be heard. Pray, allow me to add a note of importance. Cease thy assistance with the accounts henceforth. All payments must needs be directed unto the official account, which I now command. Then I didst manage the household accounts. I ventured to the bank and did remove my name from all that Opal's hand hath ever graced. I did summon the steward of the bank, elucidated the matter at hand, and did beseech them to mark the accounts for access by those not of our kin. They did declare a need for a missive penned in earnest. Thus, I did deliver it on the very same day. Mine mother did send a missive to me anon. Foul vexation did arise when her digital treasury failed to function as Opal had ordained. I beseech thee, converse with thine own progeny for but a single occasion. Not thine former daughter-in-law. She didst sever the connection with me. I did send a missive to fair Tammy, informed her of my endeavors and the reasons that guided my actions, and declared that should she desire her portion of the dwelling, she must converse with me, not by way of Lorraine, not by the means of Opal. She hath just replied, Verily, I comprehend thy sentiment. Verily, I find myself wearied by this as well. Tucker did summon forth a call and endeavored to engage in a dispute. Proclaimed I was meting out retribution upon all for their failure to declare allegiance. I did declare, thou hast already made thy choice. Verily, I seek to ensure that thou canst not feign my absence when matters of coin or estate arise. Lo, Lorraine did summon me forth, exclaiming with fervor, inquiring as to how I might have wrought such a deed upon kin. She sought to lay upon me the weight of our matron's desires. Yet I did not stir. She did declare that I was consumed by a spirit of retribution. I did declare, nay, I am but upholding the laws that are rightly established. With a forceful gesture, she cast the phone aside, its clamor silenced in an instant. In the twilight hours, I chanced upon a missive from her, reflecting on the notion that some souls remain forever in the cradle of youth, and I found myself in mirthful delight. Opal did attempt to reach me by means of a call. Forsooth, it hath been an age since last I ventured forth. I allowed it to resound forth. She did send a missive. Pray, might we engage in discourse? This doth wound the hearts of many. I made no reply. She dispatched yet another missive. Verily, I seek but to offer mine assistance. Pray, why dost thou render this endeavor so arduous? I hath cast her aside. The consequences unfurled with great swiftness. In the span of but 2 days, missives from Tucker began to arrive with haste. Initially vexed, then verily in despair. He did proclaim, the journey to the cabin hath met its untimely demise. Mother doth find herself in a state of great distress. Lorraine doth cast her reproach upon all and sundry. Opal weeps in sorrow. None can discern the path to take. He did entreat, pray, couldst thou but mend it? All things seem to unravel before mine eyes. I did forewarn him, I did indeed. Thou hast made thy decision. To thine own self be true, for I shan't be thy savior this day. I seek to ensure that none shall expunge my presence from the narrative of mine own existence. Then came a call from Tammy. She inquired, didst thou truly suspend the accounts? Verily, I did proclaim, indeed I have. She did declare, verily, I find myself most relieved. For many a moon, it hath been in disarray. They permit Opal to act as she pleases, for none desire to contend with Mother and Lorraine. I did impart unto her, should she desire to embark upon the path of righteousness, she must seek my counsel. We shall devise a method that doth not rely upon the whims of chance individuals to manage our affairs. She did declare her intent. That is all I desired for the forthcoming weekend. I didst take a swift course past my mother's abode. Her chariot did await there. Opal's was not so. Alas, the chariot of Lorraine hath vanished as well. I did not venture within. I did persist in my endeavor. At times, one must allow others to confront the chaos of their own creation. Forsooth, I shall not mend it on their behalf. Verily, those who peruse these words may find themselves pondering, alas, such severity! But prithee, what dost thou mean by Fr? If thou permittst others to regard thee as naught but a fleeting shadow, they shall continue to do so for all eternity. My kin desired simplicity. Now they embark upon the arduous path of greater trials. Opal yearned to assume the mantle of substitution. Now she hath departed from the fray.